Good afternoon, it's 1 p.m. right now. Today's Monday, the 5th day of August 2024. This is Mother and Child, our quintessential parenting show, where we'll talk about everything concerning child rearing, mother health, and child health. Like you know, we always bring you medical professionals to speak to you about our subject matter, and today is not different. I know most mothers, my name is Joyce Chooks. I don't know if I already said that. Sometimes I forget that I should introduce myself. Anyways, as we've gone through life, especially as adults, there's a term that a lot of us have grown used to. The term is baby friendly. You hear one woman telling another woman, don't you do baby friendly? Oh, you should try baby friendly. In fact, my mother, whenever we have a little bit of a spat, she will say, you are the only child I did baby friendly for. And you are the one that is stressing me. Well, we're going to dive deep into what that truly means as we're talking about breastfeeding today. Now, I'm joined via the phone with our guest, Mrs. Irene Wabo, who is the State Health Educational Officer and Social and Behavioral Change Officer from the Edo State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. However, I'll give her a few minutes to properly introduce herself. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon. Happy to be online.
Happy to have you.
Thank you very much. So, like you rightly said, my name is Mrs. Irene Wabo. I'm State Health Education Officer, Edo State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Happy to be here, and greetings to listeners out there.
Thank you so much for joining us. So we're just going to jump right into it. I want us to have enough time to also take questions. So let's just get into the conversation. When we say breastfeeding, in entirety, what does that mean? And are they different types?
Okay, thanks for that question. So breastfeeding is just as the name implies, feeding your baby with the breast and breast containing breast milk, of course. So that's what breastfeeding is. And when we want to talk about the different types, we have exclusive breastfeeding. So like you just mentioned, you're talking about people saying baby friendly. So that's another name for exclusive breastfeeding. Okay? Exclusive breastfeeding, I would say, is when you give your baby only breast milk from delivery to 6 months. Let me repeat that. Only breast milk, when you feed your baby with only breast milk right from birth. So 6 months of age. Only breast milk. No water, no other kind of fluid, no herbs. Only breast milk for the first 6 months. That's what exclusive breastfeeding is. Okay? There are other types of breastfeeding that people can, just breastfeed their child with all other additions. It could be other foods and all of that. But what I want to emphasize here, which is very important, most important for mother and child, is exclusive breastfeeding, which is for the first 6 months, giving just breast milk.
Can we talk about that briefly?
I didn't get that.
Can we talk about that briefly? It is believed that breast milk contains all the nutrients and minerals that a baby should need. Is this accurate?
Yes, I couldn't have said it better. Breast milk contains all nutrients. When I mean all nutrients, in their adequate proportion for a child, for a neonate, for a baby this age. Like I said, from birth to 6 months, breast milk is all the baby needs. All the nutrients in adequate proportion.
Okay. So now that
yes.
Okay. Are you still talking or should I ask you a question?
Go ahead with your question.
Okay, so we're live right now on Facebook, by the way. You can join us on our Facebook Live. And as the conversation is going, you can already leave your comment. I already have Victor Ofure Oselbo saying 7 of my children were all breastfed exclusively. Congratulations to those children. They are enjoying life. But, there's different types of breastfeeding, like we know. We've already spoken about baby friendly, which is exclusive breastfeeding. But there's some babies that are not exclusively breastfed. Apparently, it's called complementary breastfeeding. What is that about?
Okay. What complementary breastfeeding is like, breastfeeding your child alongside other foods. Okay, this is very important as well. But like I will emphasize, between birth and 6 months should be exclusive, meaning nothing, just breast milk. Then from 6 months upward, a child can be given breast milk alongside other meals. Why? Because from 6 months, the child needs more than breast milk. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Don't just need only breast milk is no longer sufficient for a child that's above 6 months of age. From 6 months, before you know, the child is sitting, child is crawling, and moving up and down, running and walking and running and all of that. From 6 months and above, the energy needed by the child is way more than that of a child that is less than 6 months. So breast milk is no longer sufficient from 6 months of age. I want to make that clear. So from 6 months of age, the child should be introduced into family meals. Okay, into family meals, cereals, yams, potatoes, you name it, beans, rice, family meals, little by little. Okay, getting the child to get used to these things. You start little by little from 6 months of age. So that's what complementary feeding is. Feeding the child with other meals and breast milk. Not that you just start other meals and forget about breastfeeding.
Okay.
Breastfeeding continues. That's why it's complementary feeding. You're complementing breast milk. I think it's better put that way.
Definitely.
Complementing breast milk with other meals.
All right.
Nutritious meals, yes.
Okay, let's do a deep dive into how valuable breastfeeding can be for babies.
Okay. The importance of trans.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, what did you say? I lost you a little bit.
Talking about the importance of breastfeeding, I don't know if I get you correctly.
Importance of breastfeeding. What value does it hold for the baby and for the mother? Some people say that apart from the minerals and vitamins that it gives the baby, that it also makes children smarter and it builds a very close bond between mother and child. I wonder if it's a myth. So I was just asking, just like a deep dive. Let's know everything about it.
It is not a myth at all.
Wow.
It is real. Research have shown that breastfeeding is the best food for your baby at that age, from birth to 6 months. It is the best. Not cow milk, not goat milk, not ram milk, not milk from a ewe, that's a sheep, but human milk for the baby is the best. The breast milk, like I said, contains all the adequate nutrients at the right proportion. Yes, we have other milk from animal that people use, but we're trying to discourage that in all its entirety. We're trying to discourage that for people to be aware that breast milk is all your child needs. You don't say, one of the myths you hear people say, or they feel that when they go out there to buy formula, as milk, animal milk that has been put into, gone through different processes for babies to start drinking and taking as meal. Okay, they feel that when they go out there to buy formula, is better than their breast milk. There's nothing that can be better than your breast milk for your child at that age. Okay, so breast milk helps a lot. It helps both the mother, it helps the child, it helps the family, it helps the community. Okay, in these ways, let me just put it briefly. Okay, so number one, exclusive breastfeeding. Let me talk about the first 6 months of age for the child. Exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months protects your baby from many illnesses. Okay, because number one is direct. It is ready. It comes from the mother to the child. All you have to do is pick up your child, get your proper positioning, proper attachment, and the baby sucks. That's all it needs. There's no need for you to go and prepare maybe a bowl or feeding bottle, which we also do not encourage, or any other form of utensil to feed your baby. It comes directly from the mother to the child. So definitely it helps to protect the baby from a lot of illnesses like diarrhea. Because if there's no proper sanitary condition, maybe with the feeding bottle or with the bowl or your other utensils for eating, it could lead to diarrhea. And whoever is feeding maybe not properly, does not have personal hygiene, it could lead to diarrhea. And apart from that, it could also lead to respiratory infections. Children that are not breastfed, especially exclusively, they are given other kind of formula and all of that. Many of them, I won't say most, but many of them come down with respiratory infections, is what has been noticed. Because it might now be difficult, yes. It could lead to that, it could lead to indigestion, because the amount the amount of nutrients in breast milk is adequate for that child at that age. It is meant for that child, not the cow milk. You understand? So the cow milk, for example, or any other kind of formula given to the child at that age is not adequate. It could lead to indigestion or any other digestive tract infection because the baby's system is not maybe developed enough to digest such. Okay? And another thing, people that give formula and all other foods within the first 6 months could also lead to a lot of diseases too. Like I just mentioned, yes, digestive tract infection, respiratory tract infection, diarrhea, and many more. Just to mention the 3. Then, also exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months can help the child and the mother bond easily. You mentioned that just now. Okay? It increases the bond between the mother and the child. When you imagine you carry your baby, the mother carries the baby is looking straight into the mother's eyes and sucking, When that is established, it creates bond. When it is done every day, it is done every time. And another thing I would like to say here is that mothers should breastfeed on demand. When I mean breastfeed on demand, whenever your baby asks for it, you don't reduce your breastfeeding to 3 times a day, 4 times a day. It should be on demand. Some babies want to breastfeed because they are thirsty. Some baby want to breastfeed because they are hungry. Remember, we say you don't give water, you don't give any other fluids for the first 6 months, just breast milk. So breastfeed milk is enough. You hear people saying, you talking about meat, you hear people saying, how can you just breastfeed? It's just like giving your baby food without water. Breast milk contains all the necessary ingredients, including water needed for the child to grow at that age. It's only when it's above 6 months that you now start complementing it with other things like water, other fluids, fruits, pap, porridges, and other family meals that can be given, introduced lightly to the child. So apart from bonding, another thing for convenience, yes, breast milk is always available. There is nothing like, I need money to go and buy food for my baby at this age. So it's always available. It's there. You understand? Your baby, whenever your baby needs it, is there. Okay? If you're a working mother, for example, you can express your breast milk into a container. Okay? And that can last for 24 hours. And in the fridge, it can last for more than that. Okay? So there's nothing like, I'm too busy, I can't breastfeed my child or this, because you hear a lot of excuses. But we are advocating there are ways we can ensure your child gets enough nutrients at that age and beyond. Express your breast milk. We have a lot of mothers that do that. You don't even need a breast pump to do that. I'll say that here. Okay? You just express with your hand and with a clean cup. You express and keep for your baby. Like some of us that have our mothers, mother-in-laws, aunties, someone to help. You express and you drop for your baby. Yes, and you feed with a spoon and a cup. It's better than bottle feeding because a lot of persons do not know how to sterilize and proper cleaning of the feeding bottle. So we do not advocate for feeding bottle. We say your cup and spoon is enough and your baby will take it. We've seen a lot of cases of that. So that your breast milk being always available is there. That strong body is there. Preventing children from illnesses and all of that is there, And exclusive breastfeeding also protects the mother's health. So when the mother, for example, breastfeeds regularly, when there's exclusive breastfeeding, the chance of getting pregnant again very soon is not there. Yes, when there's exclusive breastfeeding, the mother cannot take in immediately. Okay? We're talking about child spacing here. You don't see a case of, exclusive breastfeeding. You can't see a child being exclusively breastfed and the mother taking in 3 months.
So this is how come that is happening? This is kind of, I don't understand. How is this happening? Is it the
Okay,
body signifying that there's a baby already on ground, so we cannot accept a new baby?
okay, there are a lot of hormones involved in breastfeeding. You have prolactin, you have oxytocin, and all of that.
Okay.
Okay, so when the child breastfeeds, the getting pregnant again doesn't work. It's just hormonal. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because when I mean breastfeed, I'm talking about exclusive breastfeed. I'm not talking about complementary feeding.
Okay.
Breastfeeding, yes, that affects it. So, we've seen cases of women coming down with pregnancy when their baby is 2 months old. Yes, we have seen that. And that is not advisable because the mother's body has not fully recovered, has not fully come back to normal from childbirth. Imagine a woman that gave birth 2 months ago is pregnant again. It's not advisable. It's not good for the mother's health.
All right. Thank you
So
so much.
exclusive breastfeeding can help you prevent pregnancy. Exclusive breastfeeding can help you prevent pregnancy.
All right, if you just joined us, you're on to Mother and Child. I'm currently speaking on the phone with Mrs. Irene Wabo. She's from the Edo State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, and we were talking about breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding and complementary breastfeeding. But there's something I want us to point out. So I did see this case. It was in the movie though, so maybe you'll be able to throw more light on it. There was a woman who was struggling to produce enough milk. She felt like a proper failure about it, and it was such a huge struggle. So, are there things you can do to help yourself when you're struggling to produce enough breast milk for your child?
Okay. Number one, okay, you said it was a movie, but I want
Yeah.
to advise mothers listening and fathers listening as well, relatives listening that no woman should feel like a failure. There are ways you can easily breastfeed your baby. So I would say one myth, okay? One myth that people think is, I'm not producing enough breast milk. Meanwhile, there are a lot of things surrounding it. There are a lot of things that could make you not produce enough breast milk. Usually, they can be tackled, okay? Then you have another one. People will say, oh, I have a small breast, so I can't breastfeed my child enough. Those are myths. Those are myths. No, the size of your breast does not affect the production of milk for your baby. Yes. Having said that, when we're dealing with low milk production, there are a lot of things you can do to help us produce enough milk for our child. I'll start with this. Okay, frequent putting baby to breast. Okay, is the way we put it. When you put your baby to breast frequently, on demand, and even sometimes your baby do not demand for it, but oh, I think it is time. You give it to your baby frequently. Putting your baby to breast can help you produce more milk, which is frequent sucking of the breast brings out more milk. I don't know if you get it. Frequent sucking, that's your baby sucking on your breast, can bring out more milk. It produces more milk. Studies have shown that the more your baby sucks, the more breast milk comes out. Okay? So you see mothers, for example, that just put to bed. We advise, our healthcare workers are aware, and will continue to advocate. Once the woman just gives birth, the baby should be put on top of the mother, skin to skin is very important. Bonding and all of that. In fact, breastfeeding, you see a child that's just born, already suckling. Okay? Sucking the mouth. You wonder how did the child know that, okay, this is breast and this is not breast and all of that. Okay? So it's reflex. It comes naturally. You put the baby to the mother's skin to skin, before you start dressing the baby up and cleaning the baby and all of that. And you put the baby to breast within 30 minutes of delivery. That's the practice. And that will help the child to get used to the breast too, and even used to the breast before it gets swollen with milk. While it's still soft, it's easier for the baby to suck. And that way the baby is used to it. And even if milk is not coming out at that point, when the baby suckles, it will start, flowing. Before you know it, it will start flowing. Within minutes, within an hour, within hours, it will start flowing. There's nothing like, oh, my breast is not flowing all after delivery. It will come once you continually put your baby to breast. So that's number one. Then number two, another way when you express your breast milk. So express your breast milk means to press it down from the areola to the nipple, and it comes out, okay, into a container, a cup, or as the case may be. That's to express milk, bring breast milk out of your breast, not the baby sucking, but you, the mother, pressing it out, either with your hands or with the breast milk, the breast pump. Okay, that's expressing. So expressing your breast milk can also help you produce more milk. Like a case of the scenario I just gave, the mother that just put to bed. You can, on your own, pull out your nipple and express, even if the baby hasn't started sucking. Then when the baby is resting, you can express your milk. You don't have to wait for the baby to suck. When baby sucks and is sleeping, try to express. Nothing might come out at the first instance, but try to continue, and that will help your milk come.
All right.
Okay?
You can.
Yes.
Okay. Are you still going?
No, I'm not done. You have a lot
All
others.
right. We
Proper.
have 8
Okay,
minutes more,
proper
but let me
attachment.
hear it.
Okay, let me just list one or two. Proper attachment also helps your breast come too. Also, when I mean proper attachment, when you attach your baby properly to the breast, yes, it will definitely help to come. Meaning the baby's mouth should be wide open and not just sucking at the nipple, but the areola as well. That's the black part surrounding the nipple should be covered or almost covered, not just nibbling at the nipple. That will not bring out breast milk. So proper attachment is okay. Is one way. Proper positioning of the baby, not just carrying your baby, but there are ways you carry your baby to your breast that will help you do that. Then another thing, adequate diet for the mother. Okay, taking enough fluids, eating enough food. I'm not saying eating overfeeding. Don't get me wrong, but eating adequately alongside fluid, taking enough fluid, also like 2 to 3 liters of water a day. All of this will assist in ensuring that
All right.
there's enough breast milk.
Thank you so much. If you've been with us this whole time, you're on to Mother and Child. This show is sponsored by the T.Y. Danjuma Foundation. I am currently speaking to Mrs. Irene Uabo from the Edo State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, and we've been speaking about breastfeeding, exclusive and complementary. And she's also trying to tackle some myth and some facts when it comes to breastfeeding. We have around 7 minutes left of this conversation. If you'd like to ask her some questions, you're welcome to do that. You can call us on these numbers: 0705 512 9881, 0705 572 7881. We are live on Facebook. You can leave a comment on our Facebook Live, Super FM Benin, or send a text or WhatsApp to 0705 967 6881. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Who is speaking?
Saloba. I'm sorry, it was a wrong number. All right, so we have this one from our WhatsApp line. Let me get it real quick. This one says, good afternoon, Joyce, and good afternoon to you, our doctor. Good afternoon, doctor. And this one says, is breastfeeding painful? And if yes, what can one do about it?
Okay, let me quickly answer this. Breastfeeding is not painful at all. Okay, it only becomes painful when there is poor attachment, poor positioning. Okay, when your baby latches the right way to the breast, there is no pain. You will not see cases of cracked nipples and all of those sorts of things. Okay, it's when your baby does not latch on properly, when the is not proper, the mouth is not properly attached to the breast. That is when you start having pain. You see people having cracked nipples, even up to people getting fever, and people having engorged breast, because the breast milk is not coming out, the baby is not sucking well enough, and your breast becomes so huge and tender, in the sense that it becomes very painful. If the baby is not sucking well, you can have all of that, and it can be infected and all of that. So if there's proper attachment, the baby sucks well, mouth wide open before you put in the breast. And the mouth is covering not just the nipple, but the areola, the black portion around the breast. Some people have large ones, some people have smaller areolas. So just the most important thing, that the breast enters the mouth properly, the nipple and the black portion. Even if there is a little showing, it doesn't matter, but it should enter. If there's a little showing at the top part, it's not so bad. but the bottom should be more into the baby's mouth, the bottom of the nipple, the breast, the areola there. Okay, I don't know if that's clear enough. Another thing I might do, I will send you pictures since your Facebook. I don't know. I could send pictures that could help them understand proper positioning, proper attachment. So the breastfeeding actually is painless. Have your baby with you. You breastfeed with love and care, proper attachment, proper positioning, and it is actually painless.
All right, Mirabelle is on Facebook. Mirabelle says, I think drinking liquid pap can help to increase breast milk. She goes on to say, I'm a breastfeeding mom and it has worked for me. Is that something that we can recommend?
Yes, that's very, very important. Like I mentioned, proper feeding, proper adequate nutrition for the mother can help. Not particularly pap, okay? But the more fluid you take, definitely your breast milk will flow more. Yes.
All right.
So individual differences. You just mentioned pap, which is very good. Pap is good food. When you have all the necessary ingredients in it and all of that, you know what I'm talking about. It is good food. If every other meal is good, if it is adequate, if it contains all the necessary nutrients needed, and your breast milk will flow. Yeah.
Joseph, I see your question. Your question has been answered. Breast size does not affect the amount of breast milk that a person can provide. The doctor answered that a little moment ago. This one is from Mrs. Chika. Mrs. Chika says, good afternoon to the doctor in the house. Please, I would like to know if you are doing complementary breastfeeding and you don't have money for formula, what other powder can you use? I heard about soya beans.
Okay. I don't call it complementary breastfeeding. We call it complementary feeding. Okay? That, and like I want to make it clear, complementary feeding is for a child above 6 months of age. You don't give your child other meals when they are less than 6 months. It is best when they are 6 months and above. Please get that clear. So that's when we complement breastfeeding with other meals. And like I said before, because the child needs more than breast milk from 6 months and above. Okay, so going to your question, I mentioned earlier that from 6 months, when you start giving your baby, introducing your baby to other meals, and I mentioned there's a word I use. I mentioned family meals. It doesn't have to be another kind of milk. Because I think that was what your question is. If you don't have money to go and buy milk.
Formula.
It doesn't have to be, formula. It doesn't have to be a formula. It doesn't have to be another kind of milk. You're still giving breast milk, mind you. For complementary feeding from 6 months and above, your breast milk is still constant. It's just that you're including other foods to increase energy, and, growth and development and all of that. So, your family meals is fine. You give pap, you can make your pap, you can fortify your pap for your baby. Okay? You can make it yourself for hygienic purposes. Okay? Fortify your pap. Okay, I'll give you an instance. You can fortify your pap with palm oil. Good palm oil. When you mix your pap, you can put maybe half a teaspoon, depending on the quantity of pap you're making. And I would advise that you make the pap, the child is ready to eat. Don't make your pap and put in your, flask. Okay, you make ready to eat, you feed your child, and that's the end. You don't have to keep for later. Okay, we've noticed that causes a lot of problems like diarrhea. Okay, so you make your pap. You can add palm oil to your pap. You can add groundnut to your pap, blended groundnut. Okay, you can blend it yourself at home, smooth, very smooth. You mix it with your pap. Another thing, you can add banana, fruits to your pap. Mashed banana looks like pap, actually. So you can match your banana and add to your pap and feed your child. Okay? So don't feel guilty when you don't have money to go and get formula.
All right.
There's no need for formula. You have other ways to fortify your food your child can eat. Boiled potato, sweet potato, you can boil to be very tender, soft. You match. You can match with crayfish that you've already treated. Not just crayfish from the market.
Sounding very delicious. I might be joining that, baby.
Telling you. You heat your crayfish. You pick the dirt off. You heat it on the pan. When I mean heat it dry, so that if there are any impurities and all of that, you get.
All right, we're going to wrap up
now.
Our time is fast spent.
So there are different ways. let her know. Thank
This is the
you.
final question. When do you wean your baby off of breast milk? At what age?
Okay, so we don't use the word weaning again because weaning seems
Ooh.
like, yes, weaning is just like, oh, you're stopping breast milk and you're entering complementary, you're entering other foods. Okay, so you just say introduce, okay? You introduce your child to other meals from 6 months of age.
All
I'm
right.
sure that's what the question is. When do you stop breastfeeding? And another thing, when you introduce other foods from 6 months, you continue breastfeeding for the next 2 years.
Oh, wow.
That is the recommendation. Yes,
Thank you
you
so much,
continue
doctor.
breastfeeding your child till 2 years of age at least,
All right,
and
so we
that's
have
good
a
enough.
few comments saying thank you so much for this information. We're really glad to
Thank
have
you for
had you.
having me.
You've been listening to Mrs. Irene Wabo. She's the State Health Educational Officer, Social and Behavioral Change Officer at the Edo State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. She's been speaking to us about exclusive breastfeeding and complementary feeding. I hope we learned 1, 2, or 5 things today. I know I did. My name is Joyce Jukes. This has been Mother and Child on your One Family, One radio station, Super 88.1 FM. Thank you to TY Danjuma Foundation for sponsoring this conversation.